Hello, Instagram. I should say social media because I'm going to be sharing this video on a few platforms. Yet when you join, say hello, let me know, hey John, where you are tuning in from. So I'm currently in LA, but I love when you're watching. Let me know where you're tuning in from and let me know what your favorite food is. I guess we're like in the holiday right now. So what's your favorite holiday food? I'd love to know. So when you're watching now or on the replay. But this live, I want to be really focused. I want to curate a very specific transmission for this. I know a lot of you have seen me kind of posting a lot lately. It feels like I kind of came out in November or October, right, with my third book. I came out in November sharing a lot of things. I just relaunched my How to Write, Publish, and Monetize Your book. Hey, Justin. And then now, here, we are in the month of December. I just finished my free training. So if you want it, it was all about how to awaken from the matrix and become empowered to guide other light workers. So if that's a training that you want, it's totally free. You can just message me awaken. Hey, one happy Canyon mom, I think it is. How are you? But message me that, and we have a really special offering that we're doing on Monday, and we also have a workshop that I'm doing December 27th, all about self-expression. So with that, I just want to get into this live, and I want to talk about what is a light worker. What is happening right now on the planet? Why am I posting so many I don't want to say sporadic, but things that maybe are not the norm of what I used to share. Awesome, Justin. When I get done with the live, just DM me and I'll make sure we get it to you. So what is a light worker? Someone who's a light worker, you're someone who probably always your whole life never quite fit in. You've always kind of felt like that you... I guess you always felt challenged by the world. You always felt like there was something that was really hard to relate. You felt like you were really sensitive around people, and oftentimes like you might have seen darkness, or you might have seen other realms. You're probably very intuitive, but maybe people growing up would have called you crazy or would have told you that what you're seeing or what you're feeling isn't true, and to get your act together and pull it together and move forward when you were having a lot of emotional, overwhelming experiences. And so what I want to go into this is what is a true light worker? Someone who's a true light worker is someone who receives a lot of information about other people, about this world, about what's really happening. You could call it quote unquote conspiracy or energy. But a lot of people that I talk with are this, we have these intuitive knowings. We have these things that we don't know why we know them about certain people or how we know them, whether it's we see things, we feel things, or we can sense things. But we have this really deep knowing that there's something going on in the world and something going on in other people. And it's usually when kind of like big events happen or like the mainstream media is going off about something, but you in your heart know something else to be true. But if you want to communicate, you want to share as a light worker what you're experiencing in life. You want to share what you're perceiving. But you feel like it's so challenging because when you've expressed or tried to speak it before, you've been shut down. You've been rejected. You've been called a lot of probably not nice names. You're someone who probably has really bad anxiety when things are going wrong and there's a lot of chaos because you're picking up other emotions. And this is the part of being a light worker that's challenging because we weren't taught in school what to do. No one even taught us what a light worker was, or what do we do with these gifts? No one even taught us they were gifts. A lot of times we were shunned from them. And if we back this up even further into past lifetimes, which all of us have had, we've actually had many times in past lifetimes where we've felt like something has harmed us, or we've been killed in past lifetimes for the truth that we knew. And so your job as a light worker, and this is something I help my clients with, is to start to unravel and start to shine a light first within your own life. on where have you disassociated from certain parts in your life, and where are you ashamed of certain gifts that you have because it's too woo-woo, or it seems like that it's not normal, or you've shared your truth of what you've known, whether it's about an election, or whether it's about COVID, or whether it's about a friend going through a divorce, whether it's just, I mean, it could be anything, just something usually like this, and you're just shining a light on information that you somehow have intuitively known. And so what we want to do as light workers is we want to understand what's our medium of choice. And what I mean by medium of choice is, so for me, my medium of choice is I'm able to see and hear things and then guide people to business. Some people's, there could be breath work. Some people, it could be food. Some people, it could be their education. Some people, it could be wellness, like actually working out or nutrition. It could be yoga. It could be going on hikes. Hey, Will, there's a lot of different ways to experience being a light worker, and understanding, having clarity on what your medium of choice is to communicate your gifts. So that way it's not overwhelmingly like you're receiving information about the world and you don't have a channel. You don't have a clear place to communicate the messages through you. And so I hope that makes sense. I know Justin and the happy Canon mom and Will, if you're listening, you guys have any questions, or if you're watching the replay, please make sure to ask it. If you're like, oh my God, I could totally relate. I want you to feel like you're okay to be seen and heard and felt here, because I know what it feels like majority of my life to not feel like I've been seen, heard, or felt, and it's not great and it's not fun. And so the big opportunity right now with light workers, with everything going on with 2020 and also what will a little bit continue in 2021, but really as the astrologically what's happening is that we had a cosmos system or astrology system that was functioning in a very dynamic way. It was functioning like you could predict what was happening. Well, now at an astrological level, things are literally shifting. What I mean by that is that they're not able to predict things as they once were, because we're moving in from a more structured place to a more balanced flow, feminine place. And the world needed masculine energy. We needed to have roads. We needed to have buildings. We needed to have Wi-Fi. We needed things to have structure. Because if we didn't have the structure, feminine is like water, needs to flow, needs to go through things. And so the whole world, really, universe, has been preparing all of us to have structure so that when scientifically the stars align, we can actually allow things to flow through us much easier and with grace and with compassion and with love. And so, what does that mean for you as a light worker? What does this mean? Because it means you're receiving astronomically more messages or downloads or thoughts than you know what to possibly do with. And so the point of being a light worker is to know what is your specific role. What is your truth? There's no such thing as the truth. I talked about this in my free training yesterday. So if you want it, I highly recommend just message me. Make sure you DM me your email so I can get it to you. But I talk a lot about this a lot because it's important as a light worker not to chase the truth. And the truth is something that we're never going to quite be able to know, because there's always distorted or dark energies that are existing the same time that we as a light worker are desiring to shine our light. And if we go after what is the truth, so there might be maybe an entity we see one day, there might be an anxiety that we feel, or an anxiety is really just a psychic ability where we are seeing a future reality where we're betraying ourselves. So there's something not right in the certain environment that we're around, someone's part of that. But we're feeling something as a light worker, and we want to figure out how to communicate it, how to express, and how to clearly do this in a way that guides other people to awaken from the false sense of the matrix. And it can be challenging because we feel fearful to speak, because when we do speak, even if it's truth, other people are not ready to awaken. Other people are not ready to see things for your truth. See things for what it is. And so the difference between, sorry, let me go back to the truth, your truth. The truth, if you're doing it like you're having an anxiety attack and you're like, this is the truth of why I have anxiety. Sure, you can mechanically figure out why you're having anxiety with your nervous system, what psychically is going to happen. But your truth is wanting to go into, I think we're back. Okay, sorry guys. What is my truth of this reality? What is it? What is coming in for me? And what I want to share about this is that, let me feel about this. Sorry. What I want to share about these two things that I'm sharing is that as a light worker, start to just focus on your truth, not the truth. And the sooner you can do this, the sooner you can really tap into, okay, this is what's happening in the world right now. This is what's happening in my surroundings right now. This is what's happening with my friend group right now. What is my truth? Not the truth of, okay, the truth is the media said this, or I got this text message, like, okay, that happened, but in my experience, what is my truth? And as a light worker, as you have this practice of what is my truth instead of the truth, you're going to naturally start feeling more comfortable to express and communicate what's really on your heart and mind. Because what's really on your heart and your mind as the way of a light worker is what you need to express and communicate, so we offer other people the opportunity to shift in our messages, because our messages aren't even for us. They're actually for other people. And the more that we keep these messages to ourselves as light workers, the more that we actually hinder, we shrink. I had a podcast on this. You have contraction, expansion, which is birthing, so we want those. But you start to shrink if you know as a light worker you have messages and you have things to share, but you are not communicating them. And so it's really important just to understand that piece of being a light worker. It's really understand it, and really important to understand that as a light worker, you do see, hear, and feel things that many people cannot, and it's not in your head. You are not crazy. And it's a real reality. It's real messages. There's another world out there. And I was talking with someone today, and she shared this, and I wanted to talk about this a little bit. Well, we talked about this, is dreams. And I want to go into this as a light worker, and then I'm going to go into awakening. I have my little notebook here. But dreams. Your dreams as a light worker, or when you're sleeping, you're not just actually sleeping. You're going into another world that's just as real as the reality of me talking to you. It's just as real as the reality of us touching something. Your dreams in your sleep are arguably even more powerful than this reality. And so when you have nightmares, or when you have expansions or light or messages that are delivered to you in sleep, they are real things. You are functioning in another world, and that world is actually trying to come through you into this reality, or there's messages about how you can solve some type of problem. So even if it's a nightmare, there's a message, there's a gift, and I don't want you to think that it's not real and that you can't speak about it and that you should be ashamed of it. Part of being a light worker is understanding there's multiple realities going on right now, but being grounded and centered, knowing which reality you're at now to clearly communicate, to guide others into the light. So the next thing that I want to talk about is, I talked a little bit about awakening, but I'm just going to share a little bit more here. So this is in the training I did yesterday. I highly recommend that training. We're going to lead it up for 7 days, and we're going to ask for a small investment for it. So if you're watching this 7 days from today, make sure to message me your email so I can get it to you. So awakening. We are going through a massive awakening on the planet. We are going through a massive shift. I already talked about this, but I just didn't put it in the subtitle, but awakening of the feminine and masculine. So I want each of you to know who are watching this, who are light workers, that you are awakening to feelings and sensations that most people have repressed their whole life. So what I mean by this is that oftentimes people pretend like things don't matter, or they're in relationships that are kind of dead end, or a lot of light workers, especially empaths, are in narcissistic relationships, and relationships where someone views them better than you because they understand the monetary system and maybe you didn't understand the planet monetary system. But it's important to understand there's an awakening happening. And it's with the feminine energy that is very much feeling. It is very much sensation. So it's more important during this time when you have things happening internally of you, not to fill your calendar to do things. It's important you sit there and lay in your bed or on your couch, you put your hand on your stomach and your hand on your heart and breathe. That was like a very clear message I got from God. If you are like a light worker and you are feeling, you are not meant to override the feeling. Your work to get paid is to sit and lay there and feel and breathe. That is part of the journey of awakening that's happening right now. And so that's part of being a light worker, is we're also transmuting energy. Yeah, I'll say that word. We're transmuting energy of people that aren't even around us. So when crazy things are happening, like riots, or if there's something near and dear to our heart, like child sex trafficking or education, cancer, whatever it is, if there's something big happening in that industry, you're going to naturally feel it, because part of your soul is here to help that sustainable solution be birthed in this world. I know it's a lot to think about, but I just want you to know, like, you're safe to feel, you're okay to feel, and you're okay to do nothing but sit there and breathe. The next thing that I want to share is that it's really important as a light worker. The last thing I should say that I really want to share, and it's important as a light worker to know this, is that you are here to empower others. And if you have information about politics, or you have information about social media, or you have information about COVID, or whatever other thing is going to pop up. I mean, the current events are always changing, right? 9/11, Marilyn Monroe, Jeffrey Epstein. I could go on about all the people. But your job is to understand that you need to communicate these things that you know, not in such aggressive ways. So it's in a more loving, a more humbling, and a more expansive way. And when you do that, when you start to communicate in this way, you give others the opportunity to empower others to understand not only you, but themselves at a layer that they've rejected. And so I really felt called to do this live today. I feel really excited about it. I just want you to know, if you are a light worker, you are not alone. I'm here for you. We are here together. There's going to be many ways in your life that you can function in planet Earth with abundance. Money is your birthright. And there's absolutely going to be a way that you can serve this planet in a way that feels good for you, where you're not suffering and you're not forced to show up to events or places or things, when you can create a different type of structure and lifestyle in your life so you are fully supported and protected with the messages coming through you. And so with that, if you like this video, please tag a friend. Please share it. If you know someone who is struggling right now with anxiety or depression or any type of mental health, they're most likely a light worker. So please make sure this gets into their sight for them to see. And then 3 things. If you feel called to do the 90-day opportunity I have to work with me, where we called Find Your Purpose, or Find Your Truth, I should say, and Live the Impossible, I highly recommend you reach out to me. This is for you if you are just starting on the journey to self-healing. Hey, Jules. If you're just kind of starting on the journey to self-healing, and you're also really wanting to understand how to brand yourself or market yourself on social media. This may be like, whoa, that's a lot for some of you listening, but this is really my first ever online program I created. And it's such a great way to empower people to really narrow in on what type of a light worker you are, what type of mission are you here to serve, and then let's communicate offerings or create offerings for other people to receive from the knowledge and wisdom you're constantly receiving. The other thing is we have, if you're on here, there's a self-expression workshop, December 27th, where I specifically want to work with those of us who are light workers, who have these other ways of thinking and being and feeling, how to express that in a way to awaken others, how to express that in a way to guide others, how to express that in a way that's empowering instead of like demanding and like, hey, why do you all people not get this stuff? We don't want to do that. We don't want to yell at the people that don't get the stuff about COVID or the government or any of this. We want to help them understand. So we want to kind of dissolve the frustration or those people into rising. And so this whole workshop is about how do we express that in a way that's organic, in a way that's full and exciting, in a way that's empowering. So just message me self-expression, and we'll get you the details for that. And the other thing that I'm offering for the month of December is you can have a one-time energy call with me, I guess transformation call, where we really just work on what is it your gifts are, what do you feel like is holding you back, and how do we start to align you in a more expansive way for you to feel empowered in a light worker, for you to feel empowered in your gifts instead of afraid of them. So with that, I just want to say thank you so much for joining. I love you. I hope you have an absolute incredible day. And if you want that free training that I talked about, which was awakening from the matrix and empowering other light workers, message me so I can get your email, and I'll make sure I send it to you. Have a beautiful moment in time. I wish I could be here with you guys forever because I love you so much, but I'm going to be doing a few more lives, and just enjoy this moment. We are in such an incredible time on the planet, shifting, of feeling, of new opportunities being birthed. So just keep following your heart, and we're here.